Unfortunately, I found myself in a product-based pyramid scheme. So that's so much fun. And if you're like, but DC, you don't really wear makeup. Well, back in the day when I worked at Mary Kay, I did wear makeup. I did wear makeup. I seem to have forgotten all the skills that I've learned. And even still after joining, I didn't think anything about my friend, or so I thought I had a friend, getting me into that quote unquote business opportunity because I got to talk to this person every day, and then we got to work on, I don't know, graphics and helping the other team and training, and I was busy again. Not only was I busy just doing menial tasks for the team, I was, and I'm gonna apologize to every teacher and nurse out there right now. I'm so sorry. There was nobody around that I knew. I was in another state because my spouse is in the military. I thought to myself, well, I can't go door to door in my apartment complex because there's no soliciting. Within an hour's drive, there was 20 schools around me. And I'm like, my legs like going like this because I'm so nervous. I went and talked to the principal at every single school, and I said, this is what I'm going to bring. It's teacher appreciation. I will set up, I will hand out these, samples and be one of the days to make your teachers feel good, and it will include a facial. And it wasn't a facial. We called them facial. We called them skincare classes. It was not. Grand prize winner, you got $100 to spend of money with me if you brought 6 friends with you. There was one grand prize winner, and then everyone else won second place, which was a facial. I ended up getting, through that and through people's friends, I ended up getting about, I don't remember the exact number anymore, but it was between 4 and 500 customers. There was no distance I wouldn't drive to go to a customer. There was no distance I wouldn't go for a training. And that's how I got in. There was religious manipulation. There was super twisty manipulation because at the time my mother-in-law was fighting brain cancer. I went up to stay and help her for a month to take her to her appointments, and I was still selling Mary Kay. And I went to a director's meeting, and everybody who came brought food, like frozen meals, for my mother-in-law. I'm sure that it was just out of the goodness of their heart. I'm trying to think like, oh yeah, it's not manipulation. I regret in the process, I also did thank you bags with Starbucks gift cards in them and Mary Kay samples and all this stuff for every single nurse in the cancer place. I thought giving the Starbucks gift card was not just a shitty gift bag because I was like, no one's going to want Mary Kay stuff only. So I put a Starbucks gift card for everybody. Does it make it better? No. I'm going to tell y'all something I have not said on stream before. I was volunteering at a nursing home, not just a nursing home, but a large number of individuals, not only who had mobility issues, but also varying degrees of mental decline. And I would do satin hands stuff when they came in, and I was volunteering there without doing Mary Kay stuff, but I did go in there. I got approval. I already had approval to go in and volunteer, but I did a lipstick deal. At the time, I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to because my director said, you can find customers anywhere. I'm embarrassed about that. Lapses are not losses, but I don't like that I did that. And there was one person there who was the sweetest, and she had developmental issues, so she was very young mentally, but she was in her 80s, and I'm sure she's passed away at this point, but her name was Margaret, and she would write me notes every time I came to see her. And if that wasn't a situation of cognitive dissonance, I don't know what was, but because I was doing something, and then situations like that, I was coming up against my core value of honesty and stuff like that. Come Christmas time, I'm gonna do satin hands, satin feet for the nursing home. I'm gonna go ask people, quote unquote, for donations, and I didn't take any profit from that, and that doesn't make it better. I felt guilty about doing that, so I said I'd be matching every donation. So if someone paid for satin hands, satin feet, which is just one tube, and it's just like 2 tubes, and I would buy one as well. It was evened out. If something makes you feel slimy, it's probably slimy. I did that, and I went and donated all the stuff to the nursing home, and everything was new. No, I didn't make a profit off of it. My director was like, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "'Cause I wanted to." And if I could say anything, if you end up finding this because you're in Mary Kay, do not sacrifice who you are as a person for your sales director or for your national sales director or for your upline or for anybody, because the regret you feel later on when you sit down when nobody's in the room and you say, "Am I proud of what I've done? Am I proud of who I am as a person?" And you cannot say that. It feels very devastating. And I'm not saying that you can't get better. I'm not saying you can't move on and enjoy your life. I'm not saying that you have to live in shame for the rest of your life. I'm saying that listen to your gut. I was doing the best I could with what I knew, but also I felt in my gut that something was amuck and I didn't listen because I was like, "Oh, my director has my best interest. Oh, we're doing something together and we're all religiously on the same page." I was rationalizing what was going on, and that was, I was silencing my own gut. Anyways, that's the kind of like, I wasn't a failure in Mary Kay. I was customer focused. I was a top seller, not a top buyer, but I still ended up with excess inventory when I decided to leave. Not that I have to say, "Oh my God, listen to me," because I was somewhat successful. I'm saying I worked my ass off. I damaged the relationship with my spouse because I was working 40, 50, 60 hours a week because my director said, "Sacrifice now so you don't have to sacrifice later." And it was fuckery. Don't sacrifice your family. Don't sacrifice your finances for multi-level marketing. Just don't. Trust me, don't do it, please. The person we're looking at tonight is a senior director in Mary Kay. I joined another MLM in 2019, so I'll tell that story another day. We are going to be looking at this director named Chelsea. Please put a 1 in the chat if you promise not to take this real world and don't touch the poop, okay? The reason I'm not blurring this person is because they are a public figure, and I don't want you to join their team. I grew up I grew up Christian. I accepted God. I don't know what I am anymore. I say that as somebody who had to untwist their lives from multi-level marketing, because both times I joined, the people I joined under were very religious slash relationship with God slash it felt like this. This is probably going to be the wrong analogy, so if I'm saying something that has like sexual innuendo, I just don't want to know about it, because this is the best way I can put it that describes how I feel. I feel like I had a cup of water, and then when I went into multi-level marketing, somebody put like tea in there, and now instead of water, I have tea, and I can never separate them ever again. I'm emotional about that because that's how difficult it feels like unraveling the fuckery that happened in MLM and the twistiness that happened using God to sell a product. It is emotional. That is why normally I don't talk about Mary Kay. It's why normally I don't talk about Young Living. I'm emotional about it. I'm disappointed in myself. What am I going to say? Even in that disappointment, there was still room for me in the live chat, in like Aaron's Discord and other people's Discord. But I hope that if people out there feel similar to how I feel, and they're still in, or they just got out and they don't want to let anybody know they were still in, that you're welcome in the live chat. Even though I'm working through my own shame, I have not been shamed by people here or in other live chats. I have big feelings about this because shame has kept me isolated in the past, and there is something freeing about being able to talk to people who realize you've been through shit and you're still welcome to sit on the couch.
Hey friends, happy Thursday. I have a major filter on right now because I have cried all my makeup off today, but I wanted to share that God just taught me with you guys. Over the past month, I have been dealing with something really big and scary and hard, and I'm not going to go into details, but I prayed that God, instead of completely taking it away because it was just too big, I just prayed that he would make it manageable. And how often do you find yourself doing the same thing, you know, like something
Religious manipulation. And again, this is not specifically about Mary Kay. We're looking at how she's talking here, her perspective that comes across about how she speaks about God. And I promise you, this is how she speaks to her unit. Trust me, in my experience, being in Mary Kay and being around people who religiously manipulate others in business situations, literally trust me, bro. in my experience. If you're gonna say I'm a hater, that's fine. You can believe whatever you wanna believe. I don't want people coercing people. I just don't. I don't like it.
Being just absolutely impossible. Like, God, there's no way you can fix this. It's too big. Or there's no way that this will happen. There's no way I can do that. There's no way this can be resolved because it's just too big. It would be impossible. So you don't even ask God. So anyways, I had this situation and I didn't pray that God could completely resolve it because that was impossible. And so instead I prayed, Lord, if you can just make it manageable for me, if you can just make it enough to where I can handle it, because I believe you can do that. And so lo and behold, he did. He made it manageable. And I was so excited. I was praising the Lord. And then over the next few days, I got really convicted because I was like, I prayed that God would make this manageable for me, and he answered my prayer. What if my belief had been big enough to ask him to completely resolve it, not just make it manageable, but completely take care of it entirely? And I just got really convicted because it was like, Lord, forgive me of my unbelief. Forgive me for not believing that you are the God of miracles and the God of the impossible.
I have listened to something so similar with people in directorships running for national, people in DIQ running for directorship. Help me believe or help me trust that you can do the impossible and we can find $50,000 to be able to meet our goal for Cadillac. I personally don't think that God has any interest in multi-level marketing, personally. The reason I say that, one, my opinion, two, my friend I thought was my friend, who signed me up, she went into DIQ the first month. She had enough volume that she almost hit director. No, she did hit director month 2. At the time, it was like 40,000 that you had to do in volume over 4 months. Not only did she do that, she was either one of like the top 10 fastest people to hit director in Mary Kay. She also qualified for the car. So she hit director. She qualified for the first or second level car. She didn't qualify for the Cadillac yet, but she was month 2, 1.5 months. There were lots of conversations about prayer and belief and trust and all this other stuff. Same kind of language that Chelsea's using. If you're an ethical Christian, you're welcome in the chat. We think that MLMs are more of a table flipping situation as opposed to an ethical situation. That's just my opinion. Do with that information what you will.
Like, for me to think that you can't. So anyways, I was very convicted. And so today it was kind of like the end of getting all this figured out. And on my way to back there, I was like, okay, God, I'm going to believe bigger. I'm going to pray and ask not only for you to resolve this, but for there to be an overflow.
I don't know what that means.
I'm just going to believe boldly and ask for bigger. And y'all, he did that. He did that. And I just want this to be a reminder to you that, like, God is the God.
The vague. I'm not here for it because I don't understand vague that well. Do I understand vague at all? I have a difficult time understanding vague. I'm very literal.
Of literal, beyond our greatest imagination, beyond human ability, beyond what seems realistic or logical. It does not have to make sense. God can do that. And I want to remind you guys to pray and ask for bigger than what your human... What I'm trying to say is, don't base your expectations of God or your prayers off of what man can do, off of what's possible for humans, off of what you are personally capable of doing. Why, if we're just going to base off of what I can do, what do I need God for?
I think she's also talking in her unit studio. If you are a director and you have a bunch of directors in the area, you all come and you rent a studio. So you can do skincare classes there. If people don't want you in their home or you can't put them in your home, they are all required to pay the rent. So they all divide the rent up amongst all the directors who use the studio, and that's how that gets paid for. It's so interesting. You go in as an independent contractor in multi-level marketing, and then you somehow get roped into paying for shit that you wouldn't pay for. I don't know. Ma'am, I just asked God to confirm. He said he takes no responsibility for your decisions.
Ask God for miracles. Ask God for bigger. He gave us the power, right? You guys all know the scripture of, if we have the faith of a mustard seed, we can make mountains move. Well, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, have the faith to ask. He will give us the desires of our heart if we only ask. And I was too afraid to even ask. And I just know that this was like such a lesson for me, specifically, personally, to convict me of my unbelief and to grow my faith. But I had to share it with you guys in case someone else out there needed to just hear that and be reminded that it's okay to ask for bigger. He is a good God. He is a good Father. And he will give you the desires of your heart if you only ask. Last thing I'm going to say, I think that trusting God is hard for anyone, right? It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come natural. But I think what makes it harder is when you are constantly let down by humans over and over, right? When
I'm constantly let down by multi-level marketing individuals, multi-level marketing leaders, and multi-level marketing C-suites over and over again, sure. Multi-level marketing individuals who use, I don't know, lack of honesty to get people to participate in skincare classes or recruiting situations. That's so much fun. I believe in God, but I'm going to trick people into a recruiting speech. It seems hypocritical to me. It sure does. It surely does. I hate it.
Parents, or the person supposed to take care of you, or maybe someone you're in a relationship with, or maybe friends don't come through for you, or they're unreliable, or they don't do what they said they would, and then
Boundary. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
over time you become more of a skeptic and just so untrusting of others. And I feel like that can easily flow into the way you trust God, because, well, if no one has come through before for you in the past, it's kind of hard to believe that God is going to be the person to do that. But I want to share, he's so good, I can't even come up with the words. Like,
be specific. Tell us what prayer he answered. Be specific. Did he give you more volume? Did your motivational speeches convince your downline to buy things that they couldn't ever go through so that you could qualify for your Cadillac, or you could qualify for the next director you needed to become an elite executive senior sales director? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know.
He is not human. He is not man. He is not the person who let you down, okay? He is all-knowing. He is all-powerful. He is ever-present. He can do anything and everything. He is almighty. And he loves us so much. And he desires to take care of us. And I feel like when you're in that position where everyone around you has let you down, it forces you to become this independent, I can do it all by myself type of person. And because of that, it makes us less likely to even ask God for help. And we want to carry all the burdens ourselves. And we don't want to believe that God can take care of it. And we just want him to make it manageable for us in our own strength. That's not what the Bible says. Give it all to him. Let him manage it. Let him handle it. Let him have it. Pray and ask that he will completely take care of it, and then some, because he will. So anyways, that is my Bible lesson for today and my testimony, and I hope it bless someone else. Bye.
That was so vague. It wasn't about something specific, and it could be about volume. It could be about qualifying for a car. It could be about recruiting people. It could be about somebody getting DIQ. It could be about, I don't know, like her plans falling through to be able to go on a cruise. We don't know when that was about.
But because I'm literally putting myself in a position to be blessed. You can't.
She's putting herself into a position to be blessed. I have a question. What if somebody does not look the way that Chelsea looks in the corporate wear that Chelsea is wearing? Chelsea has a beautiful necklace on, a very perfectly fitting blouse, a huge wedding and engagement ring, earrings, her makeup is done perfectly, her hair is beautiful. She speaks in a way that she's very confident. How are you teaching people to do what you do in terms of just put yourself in a position to be blessed? What does that mean? What about people who don't naturally understand how to dress well, who don't know how to be confident when they try to dress like you dress, and it doesn't achieve the same influence, combined impact? Do you know how to train those people? A lot of people in Mary Kay don't. And then they'll say, oh, you're looking more like a director. You show up for the rank that you want to be. Okay, this is all superficial. It's all on the outside. How am I going to learn how to sell? How am I going to learn how to working with a cold market, warming them up to decide to buy Mary Kay? How do I take someone from a cold lead to purchasing the product? How do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? Oh, just dress for the job you want. Dress for the position you want. I don't understand. I really don't. I really do not.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one.